Welcome to the March 31st Jail and Zones production user call. We have Mark, Daniel, Anthony, Antranig, Levi, and myself, Michael, so far. And I have a question for you, Antranig. Are there actually any ports and packages that ship with Linux compatibility as a dependency? It's never clear on that. Strategically muted. I like it. I like it.
Well, simply answer yes, because there's a Steam port.
Oh, cool. Okay. So it pulls in whatever's needed and does the thing and the thing. Fantastic. So it looks like Daemonless IO has shipped, and it's a very OCI container and package-based friendly app store, for lack of a better term, as I'm having flashbacks to TrueNAS plugins. And one, it's attractive. Two, they have a catalog of things to install. And three, it includes things like Nginx Base, Nextcloud, and a GitHub page and fancy landing page for Nextcloud, and Plex Media Server. And right there was like much of the TrueNAS plugin scope. They are active on Discord. I've invited them over. Here's the main page, which only has just a few scripts to make it happen, but I guess it's other things within Daemon List that make the things happen. Projects are all, I guess, there. And this is pretty much breaking news taking place this last like few days. So has anyone taken a look at this? No worries if you haven't. It's fresh out of the GitHub builder or wherever they build it. Anyway, also looking back at the agenda here. Ooh, Oyan S6 process supervision. Take a drink. Anthony, any news on kldload.com that relates to jails?
Not specifically for jails, no.
No worries. So well, let's get to that on the other calls, but this is also rapidly evolving and improving. Go ahead and take a look at that. And now, somewhat big news, the Silva countdown. So it sounds like various people are getting a port together for a 1.0 deployment, and people are absolutely coming out of the woodwork with topics like Proxmox to Silva migration. And here is a blog post about exactly that. Um, and on the Fediverse, we're seeing lots of sort of uptake, and on Discord, it's blossoming right before our eyes. And Hazen's been highlighting comments like, I haven't used FreeBSD in like 15 years, and oh my gosh, this sounds great. And that documentation mentioned on the call a few weeks ago is materializing, such as Jellyfin in a jail, sounding like a bit like Daemonless, and I think there was how to do Rocky Linux in a jail. There we go. That's the next one over. So he had some very clever uses of, I believe it was RC local to get around system D requirements, and it just worked. So back to that first question on Linux compatibility. Boom. He's got things that need to run there, and they're running there, and detailed docs with screenshots. Jalen Silva. Okay, I'll bite. Uh, Run Silva inside a jail environment. Okay, so Silvaception. That was an Inception reference for those who missed it. Anyway, I'm very impressed to see that happening. And the main page has come a long way. It's looking good. He's upfront about calling out OpenZFS and Celta. Go team. Oh, that's who I think did the article there, but that's just fine. I know he's got some project proposals up his sleeve. He's upfront about licensing. Beautiful. We're not talking, pro version, rug pull, you name it. So, one, does anyone have new experiences with Silva? And two, just, hey, please go give it a try, especially when it hits a port. Well, then it's an ultimatum. Please go give that a try. That's coming along beautifully, and it's been a team effort, and it's pretty much been transparent here on the calls, through BeehiveCon, through all sorts of things. So go team, go Hazen. At which point you might roll in. So, anyways, those are my hot topics. What do you have, if anything? Levi, what's on your mind and what would it take to get your organization to move from a certain product starting with P over to one with S?
I'm still working on switches, but yes, that is eventually the goal.
But is there a key functionality you perceive or have seen that just has to be there? Just deal breaker without it?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
We're just basically down to a couple domain controllers and a few other application VMs, so not a whole lot going on.
What OSs do you need to virtualize?
Server 2022, FreeBSD, and I think I have like one Ubuntu VM.
Need Windows 2020, what? 5 or 2 or what?
2022.
2, Debian, FreeBSD. Is that your list?
Yep, that looks like
Cool.
it.
That's pretty reasonable. And luckily, those have all been, reasonably well supported under uh, Beehive. However, are there jails like we just mentioned that could maybe even fill in? If you're doing FreeBSD, what do you do under FreeBSD that might be simply jailable?
Exactly.
Is
And
it an
that's
app or a daemon or something? Or
and
Splice?
NTOP NG is one I have on FreeBSD. Uh, I still need to experiment with Libre and MS and see if I can get that working under
Yes.
FreeBSD.
Bingo. Yeah, that one for the summit, we just spun up the Debian VM because, hey, it was like what we could do in 5 minutes. But if that were to be on the app list, either from actually hopping over to Daemonless, Antranig is commenting that it works out of the box. Let's see. Libre. Yeah, no, not yet. No worries. Thank you, Antranig, for that comment. So, uh, that's hard to argue with. Cool. Daniel, do you have any must-have tools that will allow you to never look back once you've hopped over?
Well, my fleet's all FreeBSD already. So
Already, okay.
the question is, is like my tedious script setup.
Hmm.
Uh, how do I replace that with Sylvie or Silva and how do I get that security audited and how do I get that um, and also how do I deal with sort of firewall aspects.
Oh, interesting.
So for data center management, I have front ends, with where I put my CDN type software and firewall and VPN and stuff like that. And Silva I mean, it obviously lets you manage multiple data centers and hosts and stuff like that, which is awesome. But there's the front end management piece and the security management piece that I think is currently, I don't know, I don't think that's on the roadmap yet. So that would have to be something that's investigated internally by my team, I think.
So I do know Hazem had a great lengthy conversation a week or two ago with Jan about PF and FreeBSD. So hopefully some of the things are in motion for that. But uh, is that simply you have two instances and you very much want to control what's communicating between them or different angle on firewalling?
Yeah. So I mean, I think I don't think I'm doing anything revolutionary, but I do a pair of, I do a pair of servers, sort of lighter than my hypervisor boxes. and my backup boxes. And and then I do carp failover with them, and then I do firewalling. Firewalling is extremely tedious because it's what I do is pretty much script based and hand coded, which is now out of hand for me. It's probably not realistic. So when I start bringing in something like Silva, I also want to try to think about how to make my edge boxes also a little more maintainable. Um, so yeah, I mean it's all by hand. I mean I run WireGuard, which I provision with Salt, and I have the firewall and the kernel that gets provisioned with Salt. But yeah, the firewall rules and stuff like that, that's hand coded, which is great because I'm obsessive, but bad because I probably don't need to reinvent that wheel every few months.
Yeah.
Um, so what for people on the call, what is everybody? I mean, Antronik is also a security guy, I know, so he probably hand codes or wrote his own systems. But what does everybody use for PF management for the BSDers among us? Or is it all, or do y'all hand code also?
The answer is VI. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Helix these days, but yes, exactly.
Or an angle on that question. Oh, Levi, did you mention getting Cisco and MikroTik, was it failover working over a certain protocol that was kind of in the commons rather than Cisco land?
Still fiddling with it, but MSTP seems to be working okay.
MSTP. Okay. Email address with MSTP, and you say that recently arrived in MikroTik, and so
Better
far
refinement.
as
Yeah.
talking to Cisco.
Seems like it.
Okay. So if you have any questions about the ping Levi. Let's see what else. PFCTL. Yeah, no, PF is priceless. Well, gee, if everything is working perfectly for you, then watch this space. But hey, please give things like Daemonless a try, KLDload.com a try, and of course Silva, which has been an absolute team effort to just get from a proof of concept that was not super user friendly to something that's hopefully a package install away within days of now. Other topics, questions, ideas, concerns, funny jokes, travel stories, fuel price stories. My gosh, I've seen things in the last 72 hours.
Here in Texas, I just saw $5.20 last night for diesel.
Gee, check Death Valley on Gas Buddy. It's like around $9 for diesels.
Granted, it's interesting for Texas because, well, it's cheaper here in general because of all these refineries
Uh-huh.
elsewhere.
Yeah, I
Well,
put most of my servers in Texas because the KWs, that's the biggest price of the data center. So
wow.
cheap data centers in Texas. I love it.
Hmm. Briefly on component costs. Is there any hope out there? Or we're just gonna use our 2000 whatever pre-pandemic 2019 hardware and just kind of stick to it for the next 10 years?
We should use jails and ZFS to stretch our hard drives out a lot more and convince the world they should do the same.
Yes, and thanks to a recent data glitch I had, I did look at fdupes, and as Stu pointed out, detox and other tools to crawl through your file systems and find, say, uh, file names that the command line utterly hates, and find like those directories of folders after a conference. I dumped here and then dumped here again, and then sorted here for one person I sent it to, and then just left it there. So yeah, I was a few hundred gigs in the red on wasted space. So hey, yeah, heaven forbid people be mindful of what they have and how they replicate it, and replicate much less, much better, instead of just more copies in random places. Fortunately, I'm sure I'm the only one guilty of that ever being sloppy in my storage. But anyway,
Yeah. I think it really comes down to, do you need a GPU or not? And if you don't need a GPU and you need raw CPU power, maybe buying a crazy server that's 5, 6 years old ain't out of line.
it ain't out of line, correct. And I had a flashback to that moment during pandemic lockdown when, okay, Raspberry Pis were suddenly more money than a used R720 Dell server. Like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah.
different categories, but if you just needed to like do stuff, wow.
Well, I bought a DGX Spark just because I didn't really want to build a complete new system for well, even though I bought a system, but it was just like I need a GPU, I need a better GPU, and I
Hmm.
want to share the GPU, via a llama or whatever, serve via services. I don't necessarily need it for gaming, even though I got a couple other machines that have decent GPUs in them, but I don't need the latest or greatest, even if I am playing the latest and greatest game, because I don't play enough for it to matter. Um, so I think right now it just comes down to get what you need as a workstation, and then you access the coprocessor over the network.
Okay. And speaking of GPUs in Linux, there is YOLO Linux, the no command line, purely voice AI interactive distro.
Ambitious.
YOLOLinux.com. Knock yourselves out. Anyway, anything else, or shall we call it good? And Daniel, you queue up for the big moment. To the
Like and
minute.
subscribe.
Boom. To the minute. Let her rip. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we definitely need to come up with a new slogan for 2026 that's more closer to home, like, I don't know, scrub and dedupe. No, something more nerdy. But there's another command. Start thinking about that.
Should we start supporting Z80s at this point?
You still have one?
I might have something. I know I got a Sinclair
Sweet.
Spectrum ZX somewhere.
Nice. Retro. But now everything retro is like new again.
You know?
Well, thank you, everyone.